Welcome to the HR Happy Hour work break. Surprise, you're with Trish and Steve here in person.
I'm looking straight ahead like it's a
You're
normal
just going to
show.
pretend like it's a normal show. So you're in town. We're working.
I am in town. We are working.
We are working. And
Those are two correct statements.
So I wrote in the tweet a quick work break, literally like 5 minutes, because he's actually in town for several reasons. But the main one is we just concluded our accessibility survey. And so we're actually diving in through the results. And we've been doing that all morning. I think Steve is really ready for a real break, not just a work break. So if you can tell. But no, we wanted to at least pop on and say hi to everyone and also talk just about a couple things that are kind of in the news and going on.
Sure.
So I don't know. So what do you want to talk about? What do you have?
So I was reading this story about brand reputation. I thought was interesting, Trish. And so don't try to peek.
I haven't. Okay.
We always on my phone, but
we always don't know what the other one's going to talk about. So this is still true. I'm going to try and peek.
But what would you say is the number one most reputable brand in the United States? That's really difficult, all the brands, but they basically did this big survey.
Reputable.
About the brands that were most well-known. They found out, okay, of all the most well-known brands, which ones are the most reputable? Which ones do you sort of trust more? Do people think do the right thing in the community, do the right thing by their constituents, their employees, so on and so forth? You'll never guess.
I feel like the first thing that popped in my mind was Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola, not number one. I'm not sure.
Are they on the list?
Number 58.
Okay. I mean, I think that goes back to childhood again, just kind of always about bringing people together. And we've known over the years, quite a few people actually that have worked there. I know they've been at HR Tech. We've had their CHRO, I think, was on one of our panels one year.
I think so,
years ago. And so, I mean, I know they do a lot right by their employees. So yeah, that would be my guess.
So you'll never guess, but I'll give you number one is Patagonia, the clothing company, the outdoor clothing company.
That's number one.
Have a pretty long reputation for doing a lot of community things and sustainable things, etc.
Okay.
A couple of the other highlights.
Who are the top 10?
Okay, 10 down to 1. Amazon number 10, Costco number 9, Tesla number 8, Pfizer, right, of the vaccine, number 7. Chewy, where you can get your dog food online, number 6.
Really?
SpaceX, if you're like a billionaire, you can go up to space with them, I think. No. Number 5. Chick-fil-A, number 4. What is with Chick-fil-A? Look, a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich is okay. I'm not sure I get the obsessive Chick-fil-A thing.
It's a cult.
Moderna, number 3, riding high on their vaccine success. Honda, number 2, and then Patagonia, number 1. One of the things that was interesting in this was not a single HR tech company made the top 100. Nary a one, Trish, in the most reputable companies. And that could be that they're just not that well known publicly.
Well, that's probably.
There's probably only a couple of HR tech companies that are sort of in the mainstream. Right. But anyway, interesting. And speaking of that, though, speaking of being in the mainstream, I do want to congratulate and shout out our friends at PACOM, who I mentioned last week. That was my first business trip since the pandemic. I went out to visit my friends at PACOM. They announced yesterday, Trish, a really cool naming rights deal for the basketball arena in Oklahoma City, which will now be called the PACOM Center.
Really?
For the next 15 years.
Oh, congratulations,
OKC
PACOM.
Thunder will play. So shout out to them.
Okay.
Thunder up, all that stuff.
Thunder up. All right, good. Hey, speaking of sports, big news. We don't have to spend a ton of time on it because it's a quick break, but saw the news about Simone Biles pulling out of both first the team and now the individual all-around gymnastics finals. Any thoughts on that? She's citing her mental stress, mental well-being, kind of just unable to perform.
Yeah, it's tough. I think the stress of high-level athletic competition is that's no joke, right? Michael Phelps has famously talked about his struggles with mental health. I think he's probably the most gold medals ever of any athlete in any Olympics, and he's talked really openly towards the end of his career and subsequent to his athletic career about the mental health challenges and being open about addressing them.
Right.
To me, I think it's a good thing. Like, I mean, it's not good that she's struggling. It's good that she's able to talk about it. It's good that people are supporting her. Mm-hmm. I think it's really real, no matter what business you're in, right? We just finished recording a podcast, which will run soon, with Rebecca Ray at the conference board about many of these subjects, about mental health, well-being, stress, and being able to sort of how organizations can support employees through this never-ending pandemic, it seems like. So yeah, I hope she's okay. She's a great champion, great athlete, and yeah, I think it's good that people are supporting her. That's my
agree.
take.
You know, I agree, and I think too it'll be interesting to see. I don't know how much preparation goes into mental well-being of athletes in any sport, quite frankly, professional sports, minor league sports, whatever. I don't get a sense there's a huge amount of time in the past spent on mental preparedness, mental well-being leading into competitions. I know even at the level of, your son used to compete in sports in high school. My kids compete in sports in high school, and there's just not as much on, it's all in the physical, right? Typically. So, it'll be interesting over this next, couple of years to see, do we see a shift in that? Because again, what good does it do you if you get that many years of training? I mean, for Simone Biles to step away from the Olympics, that's about as big as it gets.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it has to be bad to step away. So for something you've trained your whole life for. I think that speaks volumes right there. So yeah, so best wishes to her, to her team. She did still show up and support her team. It wasn't that she, left or anything, but just wasn't able to actually compete. So anyway, last item I have, and I haven't told you all of this, but I saw that the New York Times has put out a study on how people are spending their time.
They're always writing things, those New York Times people.
I know, aren't they?
Constantly. They never really let up.
Thank goodness, really. But anyway, it was talking about how people are spending their time during a pandemic and how that might have changed over the year before. And so anyway, just a quick rundown. Some of them were that things like game playing. Do you think that's increased or decreased?
I'm going to go with
look at my notes. Well, he's trying to peek.
I'm going to go with increase on gameplay.
It did. And they broke it down by age group. So if you're on Twitter or LinkedIn, please go follow New York Times because they've got some new information out. But anyway, game playing was up across the board, all age levels. Largest from the 15 to 24-year-olds, which is probably a little bit more in the video gaming, I'm guessing. Haven't dug in super deep. But anyway, but even,
Space Invaders.
People our age, I've done a lot more board game playing during the pandemic than ever before.
I've played some Scrabble. I've even played some Battleship.
I've played Battleship, but not with you.
No.
Maybe we should do that now that we're here in person and have a Battleship off. Is that a thing? A ship off?
I don't have time.
Anyway, okay. How about exercise? Do you think exercise?
That's a tough one. I'm
going to say down.
I'm going to say down.
Okay, so it's interesting. Exercise has actually gone up.
I'm going to say up.
For here's where it gets weird. Amount of time spent exercising has increased across the board, except for those age 15 to 24.
Wow. They're too busy playing video games. We've learned. And school sports shutting down.
School sports shutting down, year, right? I think, has a negative impact there.
That makes sense.
Okay. How about use of video calls and texting?
Well, we know that's gone up. Come on.
Up across the board. Okay. Here's the last one. The last one I'm going to go, and then we'll call it a day. How about grooming? The amount of time that we all spend.
I'm going to speak for myself. It's
grooming.
Significantly lower.
Is it lower? You think lower?
That's why I like to do these remotely.
Okay, so here's where it gets a little weird. You can see where the priorities lie in these age groups. Grooming, the amount of time spent grooming went down from about 40 minutes a day to about 35 on average across the board.
It's a weekly figure for some of us. But...
Right, I know. You could shave a little. Anyway, except 15 to 24-year-olds actually increased their amount of grooming. I can attest to that because, TikTok's around. People have to groom and glam and do all the...
I think we've learned we can't understand anything at all about the 15 to 24 generation. Let's leave it at that.
I think that's it. Yes, I would say if you're 15 to 24, it shows that the rest of us have no clue what you're doing. So yeah.
I saw similar data, Trish. And one stat that I saw was the average number of people who left their house on a given day.
Okay.
Just for any reason, went from 84% in 2019.
I would say it's down
to about 66% in 2020. So
I would go a week or more without going anywhere.
Yeah,
at all.
I'm still kind of doing that, but fair enough.
But you're here now.
I am.
So anyway, hey, thanks everyone for taking a quick work break with Steve and with me. Please listen to the HR Happy Hour podcast network. This is why we can't have anything nice, Steve.
We can't have nice things.
I'm glad you're here.
Thank you. Nice to be here.
You're here.
It's great to be here.
Stay tuned for our work on the accessibility and inclusion report that's coming out September 1st. We're working on it really diligently right now. And as Steve mentioned, we do have a new recording with Rebecca Ray from the conference board that'll be coming out next week, I believe, and talking all about their recent findings at the conference board on well-being and things you can use in the workplace. So for now, bye for now. We'll see you back here. What's today?
I don't know.
Today. Where's the bed? Today's Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Have a good day.